Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I welcome everyone to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Thank you all for coming. My humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today we are going to continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam series of first canto, 12th chapter, entitled The Birth of Emperor Parikshit. And today's verse is verse number 14. Hare Krishna Maharaj, you can please take over and share my screen again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My obeisances to all the devotees. Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Devaccha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hiranyam Gammahi Raman Astyavannya Patirvaran Yaswanam Savitrebhya Rajatirte Satirtavit. Upon the birth of a son, the king, who knew how, where, and when charity should be given, gave gold, land, villages, elephants, horses, and good food grains to the Brahmanas. Purport. Only the Brahmanas and sannyasis are authorized to accept charity from the householders. In all the different occasions of samskaras, especially during the time of birth, marriage, and death, wealth is distributed to the Brahmanas because the Brahmanas give the highest quality of service and regard to the prime necessity of humankind. The charity was substantial in the shape of gold, land, villages, horses, elephants, and food grains with other materials for cooking complete foodstuff. Brahmins were not therefore poor in the actual sense of the term. On the contrary, because they possessed gold, land, villages, horses, elephants, and sufficient grain, they had nothing to earn for themselves. They would simply devote themselves to the well-being of the entire society. The word tirthavit is significant because the king knew well where and when charity has to be given. Charity is never unproductive or blind. In the Shastras, charity was offered to persons who deserved to accept charity by dint of spiritual enlightenment. The so-called Daridra Narayan, a misconception of the Supreme Lord by unauthorized persons, is never to be found in the Shastras as an object of charity. Nor can a wretched poor man receive much munificent charity in the way of horses, elephants, lands, and villages. The conclusion is that the intelligent men, or the Brahmanas, specifically engaged in the service of the Lord, were properly maintained without anxiety for the needs of the body, and the king and the other householders gladly looked after all their comforts. It is enjoined in the Shastras that as long as a child is joined with the mother by the navel pipe, the child is considered to be one body with the mother. But as soon as the pipe is cut and the child is separated from the mother, the purificatory process of jata karma is performed. The administrative demigods and past forefathers of the family come to see a newly born child, and such an occasion is specifically accepted as the proper time for distributing wealth to the right persons productively for the spiritual advancement of society. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gena Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthana Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Upunanama Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya De Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Pe Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So what is actual society? What is the definition or the description of a wholesome and progressive society? Obviously, it is not what we have in the present modern age, where a few people squeeze out the resources of the earth to make great amount of wealth and force the population to work very hard, in which they have to give so much taxes that are never used for anything beneficial. It's not a society where women are seen as sex objects, where people take to intoxication, all kinds of sinful activities in order to find some kind of relief from the suffering that they undergo in material life. It's not a kind of society where people are finding ways to destroy others by getting better positions and getting more and more material amenities. That is not human society. As Srila Prabhupada has often said in very clear and very concise terms, it's no better than animals. Real human society is described in the Vedas, and is particularly also in this particular canto. In the later part of this canto, you'll find there's an elaborate description of what is a wholesome and progressive society, which must cover all of the needs of the individual, not just the spiritual needs, which are the essential needs, but also whatever's required in order for people to live happily, fulfill their desires for family and work and maintaining themselves in different ways, and to ultimately develop a community based on higher principles, not materialistic principles. So a wholesome society covers all of the needs of the human being, both material and spiritual, in such a way that people don't have to work hard for it, but at the same time, they can get everything they need by the arrangement of proper rule within the society. Proper rule means actually saintly rule. So we see here, what is saintly rule? Only those persons who can receive charity are two characteristics. One is the leader of the varnas, and the other is the leader of the ashramas. And that is the Brahmins and the sannyasis. Because they're in leadership position, they dedicate their life to the upliftment of society, both materially and spiritually. And because of that, they also are remunerated by society in general in order so they can perform their service without having to struggle hard in order to maintain themselves on the material level. And so charity is given to such persons because they perform service for the benefit of the entire society, not only for the benefit of a few people. As we mentioned in the later parts of this canto, there are 3 points that make up a wholesome society. If we can remember this, then we can see what is needed in order to create or to facilitate a society that is happy, aggressive, fulfilling the goals of life, and ultimately to return back home, back to Godhead. And those 3 points are Brahminical culture, which we mentioned here, the Brahmanas, they were not poor. They would receive charity from others, but they would give back directions on how the society should be governed, how people should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They would also give material advice, such as astrology, for people to plan their livelihood within the family. They would also give medical advice and also assist people in getting what they need in order for them to take care of their personal needs. They are advisors, they are visionaries, they are they live according to the teachings given by the Shastras and by Krishna himself. A Brahminical culture is actually a human culture. Today's society, where do we have Brahminical culture? If a person doesn't have an occupation where they have to work hard for the basic needs in life, they're considered an outcast. And they may receive a little welfare in order for them to somehow maintain part of their livelihood. But they're seen to be a burden on society. Even our Krishna consciousness movement was accused many times of by people saying, what do you do to contribute into society? You're not working, you're not doing anything. All you are is chanting and worshiping. How is that benefiting anyone? You have to contribute to the overall economic, political, and social development of the society and work in such a way as that you can also get whatever you need. And so this is the talk. So they would also accuse us that we are also, what we say, parasites. So Srila Prabhupada would respond by saying, we are not parasites because we live at the expense of our Father, and our Father is the wealthiest person. He takes care of us. He will also take care of you, but because you have rejected him, then you have to struggle on your own existence, your own livelihood. But Krishna is the root, he is Mula, he is the source, and therefore he takes care of those who worship him. In fact, he takes care of everybody, but for those who worship him, he gives them full care. That is Krishna, because he's very much inclined to his devotees. His devotees become his main object of focus in life. He wants to serve and make sure his devotees have everything they need to live nicely and to be able to engage in his devotion and service. That is the basis of Brahminical culture. And therefore, Shastra is the light or the guiding principle by which the Brahmanas work. And because they do not do common labor like everyone else, they need their livelihood. And they have more than they need. Charity was substantial, Prabhupada says, in gold, land, villages, horses, elephants, food grains, cooking material, everything they needed. In fact, but the Brahmins are not greedy. They're not hoarding all of this. They take it and they use it and give it back into society as charity. And one of the characteristics of the activities of the Brahminical class is to accept charity and to return charity back into society. When Yudhisthira Maharaj wanted to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, he didn't have the treasury was depleted because of the war. There was no finance in order to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice, which is very costly. And so he sent out his brothers to go to different places and gather gold, because people in those days would eat on gold plates and throw them away, and then that gold was gathered. But in one situation, Arjuna came across one particular king, and the king was aware that he was needing money or needing finances for this. So what had happened was that actually it was Krishna himself intervened in this and told Arjuna that many years ago, this one king benedicted the Brahmanas with so much wealth that they couldn't even carry it. So they just left it. There was a mountain of precious metals and jewels and various other valuable ornaments that were left in a pile. And so Krishna informed Arjuna, and Arjuna went to get that and brought it back and was used to help finance the Rajasuya sacrifice. So the Brahmins were not greedy. Even in the time of Lord Ramachandra, when Lord Ramachandra wanted to remunerate the Brahmanas so many ways, he gave them so much wealth. But what they did is they accepted it because they felt obliged, because he wanted to give it to them, but they just gave it back to him. They said, you use it for maintaining the society. So the Brahmins were not greedy. They were fixed in their service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They guided the Kshatriyas on how to rule. And therefore, because they performed a very important part of human society, there was no need for them to work separately in order to maintain themselves, and everything was given nicely. And they would also give back whatever they received if there was any, when there was extra. So that is the Brahminical culture. And that is the foundation for a wholesome society. When Srila Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement, he wanted to create a class of Brahmanas who had those qualities and were also able to guide and lead others in the process of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada was successful in helping develop Brahminical culture, at least to a large degree. So that is one of the points of a wholesome society. The other two are protection of the cows, as the cows are the foundation for the economic development of the society. They provide milk, they fertilize the fields, they give cow dung used for cooking and heating. Their dung and urine and other ingredients from the cow is used in worship. From cow dung, you can make hundreds of different items that are used for people in general on a personal level and also within the extended family. The cows are so essential for economic development. Now we have pushed cows out, and now we have cars and other things that are simply nuisances to society. They pollute the society, and they cause people to work very hard in order to maintain such amenities. And they're also a source of crime also. So this is a dysfunction. It's a very dysfunctional society we live in. So cows, Brahminical culture, of course, there's much to be said about cows, how they contribute to the family. They give health. They give, just by their presence, people become happy. A cow, just by being with cows, all a person's anxieties are gone. Cows are like mother. They provide, they nourish, and they are wonderful just to have cows around, because in that atmosphere, everything becomes and goes into the mode of goodness because of the presence of cows and the contribution they give to human society. So that is the second part. And the third one is to worship the Supreme Personality, engage in devotional service to the Lord as given in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Nectar of Devotion. The science of worshiping the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal in life. So Brahminical culture, cow protection, and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead make up a holistic and wholesome society where everyone gets everything they need and can gradually move forward on the path of bhakti and achieve perfection of life. That's what they home for the Janmari 19 And when one actually understands everything about the Supreme Lord, at least to a certain degree, not to a complete degree, no one can understand God completely. but we can understand God to the point where we can develop our love for God and engage in his service, which qualifies us in a purified sense to return back to the spiritual world, which is Prema Pumartha Mahan, which is the ultimate goal of human life, and which satisfies the living entity completely, perfectly on all levels. So these 3 points, economic development through cows, guidance of the society, both in management and in various amenities that are needed by the Brahminical culture, and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When these 3 things are there, then there is no, everything is like Vaikuntha. It's almost the spiritual world. And so you see how important, as it's mentioned here, that the Brahmins and the sannyasis they have renounced all material attachments and activities and dedicate their lives to giving transcendental knowledge to people in general. The Brahmins have a more wider responsibility as they govern, they can help all aspects of society. So this is described here. And the king, who was King Yudhisthira, he knew how to remunerate all of the persons who are worthy of receiving remuneration. That is the most important part. Prabhupada also mentions that persons who are poor and who are, what we say, considered to be lower than the Brahminical, not Brahminical, but lower than the Varnashram. If you give them charity, they don't know what to do with it. What you need to give them is education. From education, people can understand how to live life. By doling out various types of charity, a person doesn't know what to do with it, and a lot of times they will simply use it for sense gratification. Or, they will not take advantage of that. So, of course, society should take care of these persons, but basically uplift them through the process of education, and then gradually direct them where they can become part of the society and earn their own livelihood through their elevation to a higher status within human society. So education, knowledge is fundamental for the upliftment of human society. As Srila Prabhupada said, our charity is that we give transcendental knowledge. And that transcendental knowledge, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, cuts through all of the illusions and all of the misconceptions that go on in society as the goal of society, and brings one to the platform of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead and living according to the rules and regulations as given by human nature for the upliftment and livelihood of the human culture. So, and knowledge is very, very important. So therefore, that's why Srila Prabhupada emphasized book distribution. Book distribution was so important. And of course, various other ways to distribute knowledge through satsang programs. Now we have Bhakti Vriksha programs to educate people. People are good by nature, but they're misled because they don't have a direction in life. They think that to work hard and maintain the family is ultimately the goal of life. And if one is successful in that area, he's considered to be a successful person, in other words. But what is that success? It simply gets one another birth, that's all. Real knowledge is Brahma Vidya, and that is that knowledge that teaches one who you are, what is the goal of life, and how to achieve the goal of life. That is Brahma Vidya. It says as opposed to what is called Silpa Vidya. Silpa Vidya means the activities that people engage in order to maintain the material aspect of society, such as various trades and various occupations. Okay, so this is a very interesting verse. And of course, the devotees want to preach Krishna consciousness and uplift everyone. And so there is a way to do that, and that is given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, is that live according to his teachings and engage in devotional service. That is. So we're learning a little bit more about the king, how he deals with those who are supportive and essential in society, the Brahminical class, and also the leaders of the ashram, these sannyasis, who travel, who teach, who make themselves available for giving guidance on all levels. Now, sometimes even the sannyasis will give material guidance. We have an example of Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami would go to the different villages, and he would stay there, especially the villages in Vrindavan, and he would live with the people, and he would say, how is your agricultural crop doing this year? How is your family members? Are the children getting everything they need? So he became personally concerned with persons on all levels, and they developed a real attraction for him, so much so that when he had to leave one village and go to the next, no one wanted him to leave. They felt him like he was their father, their family member, and their ultimate well-wisher. So even we see even the sannyasis, even the Brahmins will take time to help people even on the material level in order so they can understand more correctly how to live life. So without Brahminical culture, society is headless. And a headless society means a dead body. You can have arms, you can have belly, you can have legs, but if there's no head, there's no direction, there is no success. Everything is topsy-turvy, no one is happy, and people find ways simply to cheat and lie in order to somehow maintain themselves in such societies. Okay, so questions?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for the class. Yeah, I see already two raised hands. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Excuse me. Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, thank you for reminding us about the importance of Brahminical culture and the protection of cows. On this subject matter of keeping cows and developing simple living lifestyle, I remember you telling us in one of the lectures that Srila Prabhupada drew up little Prabhupada houses to be built in New Vrindavan, saying that live in a simple house and keep one cow. Every family can have a little land. And if I remember correctly, Prabhupada said, any family, they just need 1 acre of land and a cow. Is that correct, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, that's exactly to the point. Yeah, he sat down and drew with a pencil on paper what was his idea of how the devotees could construct this house. And later on, we did build one of them. And why didn't, because the society, because we didn't really do it extensively, it wasn't really developed, but we called it the Prabhupada house. Yeah, it was enough for a family of 4, and they could also maintain themselves through agriculture and cow care.
So per family, that means just 1 acre of land is sufficient for growing things, for keeping mother cow, for tilling the land, growing food, vegetables, fruits, flowers, whatever they need, as well as enough for keeping one cow to take care of the family's needs. Is that correct?
Well, it's not such an absolute principle. You have to understand how much land a cow actually needs in order to maintain a cow. If you don't give a cow enough land, then she will not be able to get everything she needs. And the land has to be in such a way that there is sufficient amount of edibles for the cow on the land, or otherwise you have to grow hay and support cow by getting hay. You have to purchase hay like that. So that's the ideal description, but then again, you have to fill in on how to do it. Actually, yeah, that is correct.
Thank you, Maharaj.
But it can't be done in the cities because people don't allow you to have cows in the cities. Unless you have a special little area outside of the city where you get permission in order to keep such animals. And that's given in some places.
Thank you, Maharaj. Rishabh Prabhu, please go ahead with your question.
Vishnu Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Vaishnavas assembled. Thank you very much. Just listening to this like lecture, just get frustrated, like, Kali Yuga, everything opposite than this. And it's just, it sounds amazing just to listening to these principles. They just kind of get alive, just get you a vision of how things should be. And if I understood correctly, you always say that distributing knowledge and educating people in these regards will help people to understand how to correct themselves and how to kind of go towards at least not if not becoming a Vaishnavas, at least being a stable society of moral people, I guess. And so the point is to distribute knowledge and educate people, and that's why we do satsang and book distribution. Is that right?
Yeah, that's obvious. That's some of the ways. There's others. Do you have a question?
Yes. So the main principle of book distribution was actually distributing knowledge.
Yeah, that's what these books are. They're knowledge by which people can understand who they are, what is the goal of life, and how to achieve the goal of life. If you think you're this body, then you live in a different way. You simply work hard to maintain the body, and your success in life depends on what happens with the body and mind. And that's only external. It is not the real success of life. What the success of life is to understand that your success in life or your achievements in life centered around the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
And to learn how to do this properly.
Prabhupada has spent so much time writing these books. He not only wanted us to distribute us, he wanted us to read it and know it and practice it, and at the same time teach it also. Prabhupada's made a great sacrifice of his time and energy just to give us these books. So much time. And he also encouraged, the devotees read the books. Don't just distribute them, read them.
Interesting, Maharaj. As we don't expect that everyone will become, so the aim is not that everybody will become a Vaishnava, because that is really rare. And you have to be you have to get a seat of a spiritual master to actually become a Vaishnava, or be a Vaishnava or be a Bhakta from previous life to continue work, be attracted to devotional life. But at least we will be able to guide people and to have like a Varnashram system, so that they step by step not degrade themselves but elevate themselves in a more spiritual way for maybe future Vaishnavism.
Yeah, that's Prabhupada said, make these farms. He said, develop the farms. And he says, as society starts to deteriorate, people will come to our farms. And when they come to our farms, we give them some activities to perform. And their ashram, Varna is first, ashram is second for people in general. Because without them being situated in their livelihood where they can maintain themselves along with taking care of their children, it becomes difficult for them to practice their spiritual life. More concern and the need is sin. So both of these go together, but the procedure is develop Varna first. And that Prabhupada said, we do that on our farms.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's enlightening and fulfilling for the heart to listen to such lectures. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Devotees, any more questions, please raise your hand, and please turn on your cameras if possible, so that we can have nice association of you all. Sridevi Mataji, you have one more question?
Yeah, but I can wait for Bhikkhu Parmar Prabhu to ask, because I've already asked once.
Sure, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead. Bhikkhu.
I have unmuted.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Maharaj from us. Thank you very much for this very interesting class. When I was young, I remember on occasions where we had some function, religious function at home, we used to, or family would give gifts to Brahmins, like cloth or dhoti or some grains. And I think the point you made is very clear, that Brahmins received and gave back. But as things have evolved, Brahmins don't all practice those qualities or of helping families in very many ways, and they are into business, earning. So our kind of shift is now to associate with ISKCON devotees and give charity, which will promote Krishna consciousness. So I think there is a bit of contradiction here, because I find that Brahmins with those true qualities are very rare. Any guidance on what we are doing, Maharaj?
Well, that is the purpose of our Krishna conscious movement, to create a Brahminical class. But at the same time, we have to understand, what is a Brahmin? Even if one is born in a Brahmin family, that doesn't make him a Brahmin. It's by guna and karma, not by janma. So one has to perform the activities of a Brahmana in order to be designated as a Brahmana. So we can't say that the Brahmanas are working now, because as soon as they take up an occupation to work for someone, they're no longer they're Brahmins. They're Sudras. The Sudra is a person who maintains themselves by working for others. Vaishyas don't do that. Kshatriyas don't do that. Brahmins do that. They're all independent. They have their occupation and they perform activities, and they get everything they need through their activities and through the process of charity. But We don't have that. We have a completely dysfunction. So therefore, the answer to your question is this Krishna consciousness movement, which Srila Prabhupada has been trying to organize since he first came. He put his emphasis on creating a class of brahmanas. And then he wanted that to unfold and develop the whole Varnashram system, where the brahmanas, once situated nicely in their occupation as brahmanas, will be teachers to guide the rest of the society and help develop more clearly and more, what we say, in an organized way, the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas. So the Brahmins will be teachers and to help bring about a class of Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also. The Brahmanas in a collective sense, and this you can hear this on the tape, Srila Prabhupada is outlining this, are meant to know all occupations, not just brahminical activities. They're meant to know in a collective sense, not each individual Brahmin has to know everything. But in a collective sense, they have to know all the occupations that are required for human culture, human society, and be able to teach that. Therefore, Prabhupada's step was Varnashram College as a way to teach and to organize from that teaching. So that's the unfinished business of Srila Prabhupada's mission, which is still moving forward, but in a very slow way. But that's what Srila Prabhupada mentioned before he left. He said 50% of my mission is unfinished. I haven't set up the Varnashram system. And then Varnashram means Daivi Varnashram. That means spiritual Varnashram. That we work in conjunction with service to Krishna and offering the fruits back to Krishna in devotion. And whatever is there, we also use in order to organize society in the different areas. So if you study clearly and hear from Srila Prabhupada, you see he gave us everything for a perfect system, how to achieve it also.
Thank you. Maharaj. Just another point. I mean, we feel that giving charity to Krishna conscious activities is one thing, or helping sometimes, say, poor people or people who need health, who have problem with health. We try and dedicate also part of the charity for such causes where somebody's life is threatened or somebody has a disaster and hasn't got the funding or means to sort. So is that okay for using charity for such purposes?
Yeah, that is natural. That is human nature to want to help someone in a impoverished or calamitous situation. That's natural, and that should be done. But unless we educate people, then we will simply be doing that all the time. We want to bring people up. At the same time, we take care of whatever needs they are. And so just like in ISKCON, we have our Food for Life program. So we distribute food, just in Mumbai alone. Every day we distribute 1.2 million plates of prasadam every day. All over Mumbai to the schools. Mostly we give food to the schools. When the pandemic was on, ISKCON was very active all over India and providing millions and millions of plates of food every day for people that were needy. And so much so that Prime Minister Modi wrote a letter thanking us, congratulating us, and showing his appreciation for the work that we did during the pandemic. And Mumbai was the focus, but actually we did it all over India during that So yeah, we also do that. But we also teach people spiritual principles. We don't just give food. We sometimes find ourselves by using that element of coming into various places. We also have an opportunity also to set up various other forms of education and upliftment that are based around worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, yeah, so we do that. We have our Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mumbai. It's a low-cost hospital for giving people who can't really afford the high prices of medical care a chance to take care of their medical needs. And that's been given a claim by the government also. But when people come to the hospital, the doctors are devotees, they wear tilak, and there is Shikshastakam prayers that go on in the lobby of the hospital 2 or 3 times a day. There are Prabhupada's bhajans that are played into the rooms where the patients are. There are Prabhupada's lectures that are done the same way. So it's a spiritual hospital, along with taking care of material, problems. So that's what our.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
We need to make that an example everywhere, not just in one place.
Mhm. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have a question on chat by Narshingalila Mataji. She's asking that recently she's speaking with some devotee families who are living in the countryside, and they have a great amount of rain, and because of that, all their work, the farm work, whichever they are doing, is ruined, and it's hard to be self-sufficient because they are not living in a big community. So in this particular lifestyle, what can the devotees can do to have an alternative for maintaining themselves? So that's what she's asking. And because the fruits of their work on the fields were supposed to maintain them regarding the food and earning money by selling it to others, but there's not much left due to all these natural things.
That's because of sinful life. That's why there's shortage. Nanan bhavanti bhutani parjanya anasambhavam, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. When you perform sacrifice, there will be rains, and rains will produce grains, and and there will be enough food for everyone. Because there's a lack of sacrifice, then material energy withholds. He works under the guidance of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, if by chanting Hare Krishna, engaging in devotional service, everything will be provided. That is the yajna in this age, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And these areas that are being, they're not people not able to maintain themselves. Either they're don't know how to do it, they're not performing any sacrifice, they're not worshiping the Supreme Lord, or the government in that area is exploiting the people and taking everything themselves. So ultimately, if people perform yajna, just like in Croatia, she's from Croatia. There's one lady who lives in Croatia. She has a farm. She's a devotee. She worships Lord Jagannath. She has her deity there. She has one cow. And she's all by herself, taking care of the cow and the farm. But she has everything she needs. And she also, every time I come to the temple in Zagreb, she gives me a whole bunch of produce. She's an island by herself, but because she's a devotee, Krishna's, making sure she gets everything she needs. If you serve the Lord, there will be there will be no, deprivation, no lack, no shortages. Everything will be there. But people don't want to serve the Lord, and they want to just try to manipulate the material energy to get what they need. And you can't do that because material energy is not manipulated by us. It works under the control of the Supreme Lord, not according to our plan. So teach them sacrifice, teach them to chant Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, being more Krishna conscious will help these families.
Being more what?
More Krishna conscious and participate in devotional service. Yeah.
That verse is in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Anan bhavanti bhutani parjanya sanana sambhavan. Rains produce grains, and rains come by sacrifice.
Mhm.
Shortages simply due to either exploitive governments or sinful people. Mhm. Just like in the Sringalila can know, and the date was, I could tell you the exact day, it was December 29th, 2020, I believe it was. Yeah. They had a major earthquake in one city, not too far from where she was. And I mean, I was 150 miles away, and my room shook also. I was 150 miles from that earthquake. And then, half the city was destroyed, people died, and there was everything. So why? And then we understood that place was very sinful. It was a slaughterhouse for chicken. People were living in a very, what we say, they were killing a lot of animals in that. So when sinful life is there are reactions. There are calamities, there are wars, there are pestilence, there's diseases, there's hardship. These are the reactions for sinful life.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj.
May I just interject at this point, Srimati? I just want to clarify that Nrsimha is talking about devotees living on a farm and they suffered because there was too much rain which ruined their crops. So is it because of the geographical karma of where they live that even they have to go through whatever it is that, other sinful people are doing? And so they also suffer along with others. And then she adds,
Obviously, it is some kind of karma. How that karma plays out is hard to understand. We can't actually say it's happening exactly because of this. But we usually understand it's usually due to sinful activity. So you read the verse in the Bhagavatam, because of King Yudhisthira's rule within society, the land, the rivers, the cows, the people, everything was nice. People had everything they needed. The cows were giving more milk than people needed. So a lot of it is also due to the rulers who take the position of kings and presidents and simply exploit the people and live in such a way as to break all the laws of God. And so a lot of people are suffering also because of the irreligious and demoniac rule within society. But particularly, I know specifically some of the things that are happening in that area of the world where she's talking about. But it's not necessary for me to go into these details. Prabhupada also says people suffer a lot because of bad rule. Greedy kings, demoniac, dacoit, he probably calls them dacoits. They have no qualification to rule and they simply exploit. That's it. And people suffer because of that. But if you elect a person like that, you're also responsible for what happens. So the only solution is Krishna consciousness. Don't try to make a material solution, which may work for a little while, and then as time goes on, things change. You want the real solution, become Krishna conscious.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, we're almost reaching up to the mark of 1 hour. So, would you like to take 2 more questions, or shall we end? What should we do? Do we have time to take more questions?
I don't have time, but I will have time.
Sure, Maharaj.
Devotees are still there. I got time.
Yes, yes, Maharaj. Namrata Mata.
Not right?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we were talking about charity. So organ donation is one of the charity. But then I feel there's a lot of questions arising when it comes to organ donation. So if suppose I decide to donate my organ, then this first question is like, if I'm donating, I should know who am I donating. Otherwise, if I give to the organizations, they can give it to any person who can even misuse. And as a devotee, should that be my concern?
No, don't even worry about it. What do you want to do? What do you want to worry about all that? It's a big business.
Because
The big organ program is a big business, and people are making millions of dollars on that.
So a devotee should not indulge in organ donation. I was just thinking that should not. The Shastra says.
Let's put it this way. That's up to you. But I don't see any importance or value in it. People are under the influence of karma. Even if you give them an organ, it doesn't mean you're going to extend their life anyway. To extend their life, that was part of their karma anyway. So, well, whatever happens to a person is under their influence of in the material world, under the influence of karma. So, just like Prabhupada said, a doctor cannot extend a person's life. But even if a person gets sick and doesn't have a doctor, if their life is meant to be extended by the mercy of Krishna or through their own karmic collection, it'll happen. You can go to the verse, Srimati, first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 18.
Chapter.
1:5:18.
Yes, Maharaj.
Beautiful verse. This verse is spoken by Lord Brahma himself. It puts everything in perspective. Tasyaifo hetu pratite na kovida na labhyate yad brahmatam paryadad ta labhyate dukharabam anya sukham kalena sarvatram gambhira ramasa. There's 2 parts to the verse. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is attainable even by wandering from the topmost plane of Brahma, broken down to the lowest plane. Now here's the second. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. So that means if you're meant to get happiness, you'll get it. you're meant to get distressed, you'll get it. The only way you can change that is become Krishna. And as you engage in devotional service, you change your karmic collective, and things, your happiness and distress is automatically reduced, and it's replaced with transcendental knowledge and happiness. Otherwise, the non-devotees are under the influence of the material energy. They're tightly controlled. Nothing can change. Simply by trying to readjust the material energy, nothing will ever happen. You can, a person might say, well, I'm living in a cold area of the world and it's suffering, so I'll just move to a warm area. Yeah, okay, you can do that. But then you'll still get the same amount of suffering in another way. Okay. Material energy works, karma is the rule of material nature. So you can't improve another person's life by a material situation. The only thing you can do is educate them and bring them to Krishna. Once they become a devotee, engage in devotional service, then their life changes for them.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
If you read the purport in that, you'll see everything becomes clear. Don't worry about that. If you want to do it, I can't say not to do it, but I don't see any benefit in it.
Yes. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I think there's a lot of cons for this organ donation, so I should drop the idea.
Mhm.
Thank
We had a situation in our movement where one of our leading devotees needed a liver transplant. And so another devotee came forward and they took half of his liver and gave it to this devotee. And then, of course, when you put the liver in there, it grows automatically. You know? So that was something that was actually beneficial. One devotee serving another devotee by giving him part of his body. So that was there.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, that was what exactly I was asking. If we know whom we are donating the organ, then it's beneficial. Otherwise, it's no point donating to the organization.
Yeah, you might be donating an organ to a guy who lives now he'll live his sinful life even better. And then you'll get a reaction for that, for contributed to another person's sinful activities.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the clarity.
It's very risky, Mataji. Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Sridevi Mataji, yeah, you want to go ahead with your question?
Guru Maharaj, just a very quick question. I know we are reaching the end of this time, and maybe it's a little superfluous even. I don't know how to ask this in such a way that it makes sense, but I'll try. Guru Maharaj, God provides for the necessities of all living entities. All living entities get food, shelter, etc. The birds have their nest, and the bears have their caves, and the rabbits have their rabbit holes and everything. But why is it that for humans, just to have a home is such a hugely expensive and difficult endeavor, using all kinds of, environmentally unfriendly materials? I remember you telling us that the Amish build a house in 3 days with local materials. So is that really how we should build our houses?
You answered your own question. If you plug into a demoniac society, you expect things to work nicely. That's why Prabhupada said we need to develop our Krishna conscious society on all levels. Yeah. Okay. Just become Krishna conscious and work together as a group to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire both in the material sense and in the spiritual. He gave formulas for both. That's being done in many areas. Look for the areas that are actually doing it, see where success is. Wherever you are, you can organize in your local level and do the same thing, using the example of success as a prototype in order for you to be inspired on how to move forward. Don't wait for the leadership to do it. Do it yourself. You wait for leadership, sometimes you may wait your whole life. Fortunately, in some areas, leadership is taking that responsibility. In other areas, it requires the individuals to move forward and do it.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes, I understand.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. I have a quick announcement to do before we end the class, if it is okay. Yeah, dear devotees, I just want to remind you all once again, on behalf of His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj, we want to invite you all to join Maharaj on a special retreat at Govardhan Eco Village from 29th November to 7th December. And today is the last day to register, but Ekta Mataji, she mentioned that you can register for one more week. They are extending the date to one more week. And so here the Maharaj is going to narrate us with through Krishna, narrate us the Katha, taking us through Sri Krishna's pastimes in the Vrindavan forest. It is a unique opportunity to observe yourself in the association of devotees in a beautiful, serene village which has the mood of Sri Vrindavan Dhama. And many places have been recreated here. You know all about the Govardhan Eco Village. So an email has been sent in the conference email to all the devotees. And if you have any questions or anything to clarify, you can email to cmsgevretreat@gmail.com. Thank you so much. I encourage everyone to register and attend the retreat. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can hear from the devotees who have been on retreats. This one will be our third year in a row. And devotees who have been there will give you their, experience, their words and the experiences they have, which is quite amazing. Everybody had the most spiritually uplifting and a very materially educating time. It's very good. It's quite a unique place. It is the future of our movement in one place. It's really quite powerful what's being done there. It's everything Prabhupada wanted. Okay.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, and thank you all devotees for participating.
I don't know if I'll be available tomorrow, but I'll let you know sometime today, late today or early tomorrow morning.
Yes, Maharaj. Sure.
And it'll have to be the same time again.
Yes, Maharaj. Sure. Thank you so much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you.
Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you.